Hey everybody, how you doing? Hope you're doing great. So excited for this next publishing challenge day. So super exciting. And one thing that was really fun about yesterday. So yesterday I talked about your mentor and like who's been a mentor to you, and the importance of giving thanks. And that's something that I talked about Steve Larson and about Russell Brunson. And so I reached out to Steve and Russell on Instagram. I really didn't expect to hear back, but I actually did. I heard back from Steve. Russell didn't say anything yet, but Steve did, respond, and he said, "Hey, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate you saying that. And we had a little conversation there." And so anyways, I just think it's pretty cool, that he responded, and definitely I hope that you did that you went and said thank you to your mentor. So today what I want to talk about with Traffic Secrets is who wrote the foreword, so in this book, and why you should even care about that. So the foreword, obviously, of any book is just like another author or someone that wrote a little bit, introducing the author. And I think that, so the person that did it was Dean Graziosi. If you haven't heard of Dean, so Dean is a really awesome individual. So he is huge into personal development. That's something that he's really in, but also like self-education. He's really big on helping people to figure out, taking your mess and making that your message. He points out that the self-education industry is blowing up and that it's really growing a ton. And so he has KBB, his knowledge broker blueprint program that he created with Tony Robbins. And so anyways, really cool dude. He has a lot of awesome videos, podcasts, everything like that. So if you haven't heard of him, go check him out. He always has a lot of good things to say. And one thing for me that he's really helped with is to learn how to have a little bit of a different mindset about like selling. So, I think selling, for a lot of people that have like a big heart, that they really want, like, care about other people, or they don't have a lot of experience with sales, sometimes it can be like they get all worried about it and like, oh, it's like, but what he shared, which I thought was really powerful, was like, think about like your favorite restaurant and explaining that to someone else, right? And saying to someone, hey, like this, oh dude, the pasta there, it's so good, and this awesome dessert, and like really, thinking about how you do that, and like you're kind of selling it in a sense, is because you love that thing. And so the thing is, if you're having a hard time selling, then one, make sure you actually believe in the thing that you're selling. Like if you don't really believe in it, then it's going to be hard for you to actually like be happy and excited about it. But really also, he brings up the point that you have an obligation to be able to sell to someone else, because if you have something that really is going to make a difference in their life, then it's up to you to really help them to see why they'd want to do it. And obviously, it doesn't mean that everyone is going to buy or needs to buy, but it is an important thing. And so anyways, I appreciate Dean. I think he's awesome. And so, yeah, so he's the one that wrote the foreword for Traffic Secrets. And what they talk about is a cool story. And I want to go through a little bit of this just to explain why is this important to you and why it's important to Traffic. And so what he talks about this story about being at this banquet, and there's this charity auction going on. And so, there's these bids going up. It's for, $10,000, $12,000. It ends up going up to like $50,000. And there's these two different people going back and forth. And it's Dean and someone else that Dean's not sure who's bidding against him. And so basically the auctioneer, again, it's all for charity, I think it was naming a plane, that it was like, hey, like, how about this? Like, we can, we'll take both donations. So both of you can, pay 50 grand. And so both of them go up there, and Dean once he gets up there, and then he sees who it is, and it's Russell Brunson. And Russell and him, especially after that, they became really good friends and done a lot of great things together. He's actually mentioned in the book a little bit as well, about some kind of bouncing ideas off each other with running ads and doing different things like that. So they ended up, talking about that. And the reason that I wanted to touch on this, which, maybe like, well, what does this have to do with like traffic or anything like that? But to me, what's really important is to think about like, why are you doing something? Like Dean, Russell, they have these missions that they, Dean is really wanting to help people right now, especially because he's gone through different kind of businesses, realty, with like used cars and things like that. But like, he really wants to help people to be able to come into the self-education market. He sees that there's a lot of value in those people that have specific skills that aren't necessarily something you learn in college, but something that other people want and they've gone through, right? Like maybe there's something with your kids that you have gone through and that you face that's not really something you can just go to school and learn, but it's something you've been through that process and you know like what works to help them. And I think, it gives an example of, like having some skin conditions with kids and the very sensitive skin and what things they've done. And so it's like a very specific thing that other people are dealing with as well. And so he's really passionate about that. And Russell, he's really passionate about helping entrepreneurs. He really wants, he knows that they have these missions and these messages and really believes that entrepreneurs are the ones that are going to change the world. And so I think that it's really important to know where you're going and like where you're heading, right? And the reason that I think this story is really cool as well is because not only, do they have these missions to, take their messages to the world, but Dean and Russell, they also really want to make an impact, right? Like both of them, they spend a lot of money on charity. They spend a lot of money giving back. Russell's going to build schools in third world countries and he's helping, to do these things. And both of them I know also donate to underground railroad, which is where there's actually like slavery today in other countries, which is really really sad. But Dean, the other day, he talked about how he gave $500,000 to that organization because he really just resonated with that and really wanted to help. And he talked about how a lot of people, they just say that you can't buy happiness, and he doesn't believe in that because in that moment when he was able to write a check for $500,000 to help all these kids and how many kids he was going to be able to help, it just like the joy that he had from that was so amazing. He was so glad that he's been successful in his life and that he's continued to do things to be able to earn an income so that he can then give back. And also, if Steve Larson, one of his mottos is to get rich and give back. And it's really funny to be on his live streams and things like that, and to be in his community, because you'll have a lot of people, I swear, like every other day, that are kind of like, hey, but Steve, I don't believe in, like, I don't agree with you. Like, this is like, you're flawed in thinking like get rich and give back. But however, now that he has been able to be really successful, and again, Russell and Dean, like they're able to give back in ways that they couldn't have before, right? If before they're like, it's fine, life is good, it's fine, like it's going good, like I'm just gonna go with how things are, then they wouldn't be able to be in a position to give back in that way, right? And Dean also talks about how like a lot of times people will say, but you should just be grateful for where you're at, right? And I think that's true, you should be grateful. But he's like, to me, it's like, if I get to like, I'm at this good point and maybe I'm on a mountain, maybe things are great, like things are going well, but he's like, why shouldn't I try to climb the next mountain that's even higher and harder, right? And the thing that is really important about entrepreneurs, but also just about people in general, is that we need momentum and we need progress. That really happiness comes through progress, not necessarily just by the destinations. And growing up, I used to always kind of think, and even last like 10 years, I remember thinking about like, oh, but like once I get to this point, like in my career or in whatever, like it'll be so much better, right? I'll feel good. Everything's fine. Like we're at a safe, good spot. But it's just like, that's just not the right mindset to have, because once you get to that point, then you either just like fall off the face of the earth and you're just not happy, or you or you decide to say, hey, yeah, I need to continue to go forward, and you see that progress and progress and progress. And so anyways, I love that. I think that's really cool. And so that's, again, who wrote the foreword for Traffic Secrets by Russell Brunson. It was Dean. And I think, again, I like the idea of thinking about like your future and your goals, right? So let's just talk about traffic for a second, as far as like, why do you need traffic and why is that so important to you? And if it is something that you really want to like grow a following, you want to be able to sell products or whatever it is, like what is the whole purpose of that, right? And so if you don't have that end in mind, then it doesn't really matter, right? Like the traffic it's just kind of pointless. And so, and for me, one thing that I've really, come to understand is that I really want to understand, what does it take to build a business while working a 9 to 5 and while having kids. And I know there's a lot of people out there that resonate with that it's like, oh man, I really do want to leave my 9 to 5 at some point. I wanted to be able to do my own thing, but I don't know how to do that, especially where I have these, important relationships as well. And so, it really hit me a while ago. I was like, man, this is what I need to figure out. Like, I need to figure this out for myself, and then, document that and be able to then teach others. And so I'm super excited to be able to do that. And so, like, I have that purpose and that vision, and that's, to me, honestly, something that it's been so like eye-opening, because it was just something that, like, I felt like I was struggling to have like my purpose, right? So a lot of I have this parent success plan course, and if you're interested in that, let me know. Definitely, I'm still offering that for people, but it's just something that I knew I wanted to like help parents. And originally I really did want to help them with like building their dream life. But I just kind of got, distracted in different ways and kind of got pushed in different ways. But I never really felt like, I was like, well, what's the end result? What is the thing that I'm really working towards for me so that I can help other people in? Right. I couldn't really see it until finally I really felt that, like, man, this is what it is, right? It's learning, what does it take to leave your 9 to 5 to then go and have your dream life, but also to have your family, the entire time. And again, with my podcast, Go Big and Go Home show, that's what it's all about, right? Is being able to go big in life and in your business or whatever that thing is, but also at home, because I know that that's 100% possible, and that there's many people that do it, but there's a lot of people that don't even believe that you can do that. They believe that either you have to just, dedicate one to the other, or you just need to, maybe you start with your business and grow that, and then you have your family, and then, you know what I mean? So it's just, I know that both of those things are really important. And to me, that's really true success. And so anyways, super excited for that, excited for, the future. And just, for you, what I want you to think about is like, what is that future goal that you're working towards, and why is this important? Why is this so important to you? Because if you can really understand that and get a lot of emotion behind it, one, it will help you to continue to work towards that. But then you'll also be able to make a plan to actually go out and do that. And then as far as finding traffic, as far as doing other things, you'll actually know what you can do. So anyways, hope that helps. And, let me know below in the comments if you have anything that, you want me to talk about, or just, insights that you've had, or even what you're working towards. Like, what is that thing that you're really trying to figure out? And the one last thing I'll end with is that, again, like for me, it's been a journey. It's been really trying to figure out all these different things and finally get into a point where it's like, okay, now I get it. But, it's been 10 years of me trying out different businesses and different ideas and different things that, it can take some time, and I definitely want to help you shortcut that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that don't worry if you don't know right now. If you don't feel like, oh man, I just have that thing, or I know it, and I know that I'm on the right path, right? Like, the biggest thing is if you can get in action, in momentum, and then continue to move forward, then you can adjust, right? But it's like, if you're just sitting there, then it doesn't matter. For those that are like engineers, there's kinetic energy and potential energy. And kinetic, like, it's a lot harder to get something started, but once you actually get it started, then static and kinetic. Anyways, it's been a long time since I've been in school. So, but yeah, so just the idea though, that like, if you're pushing this table that's on the ground and it's stuck, it's going to be hard to get like push, but then once it's actually moving, you can just keep sliding it. Right. And so that's the thing that we all need to do, is just continue to take action, continue to go forward. Because if you don't do that, then, then you just sit there. You just are still sitting there 6 months later. Oh, I'm just still sitting here. And so figuring out a way to continue to take action, even when it's a little bit unclear, but then being able to adjust and to continue to do that. And I've seen that, especially last year, it's been a lot of that taking action, be like, oh yeah, that wasn't quite right. But then you get a little bit closer. So anyways, thanks so much. Hope you have an amazing